folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, today is the day of our monthly meeting, and so here in a little while my wife and I and the family will be headed to the facility and get it ready for all of you for this afternoon, and I hope to see many of you there. I wanted to make this video because I was inspired by a really bad movie that we watched over the last couple of days, my wife and I. It was suggested to me. It was kind of one of those, prepper apocalyptic type movies. It wasn't a very good movie. No, not really any good acting, and it was definitely a low budget film, but it inspired me to say this. Don't allow yourself to fall into this category where you are awake, you're not part of the blind asleep sheep, but yet you're not really prepared mentally, and physically, but prepared mentally for what we may face. And what I mean by that is so many people, I don't know what you would call them, maybe armchair quarterback type of preppers, where they spend a lot of their time online learning about all these different conspiracies and learning about all of these, different what ifs, but yet they've never taken the time to actually put that knowledge into action. They've never actually learned how to do things, developed skills, acquired the needed things that you need to survive. And that was the case in this movie. And without going into too much detail, because like I said, it wasn't a great movie at all, but I guess it was enough that it inspired me to make this. I think that we're seeing that. It amazes me how many people that I see online and stuff actually think that they can acquire a certain amount of training by playing a video game, for instance. Or that they're prepared because, they watch videos and they get on, forums and blogs and groups and stuff like that online, and they communicate. The stuff that you're getting here on this channel or any other channel, that's called knowledge. But if you don't have the training, the skills, the heart, the mind, the wisdom, put it into action, it's only going to get you so far. If you spend all of your time watching videos or all of your time researching all the things that's going on in the world and how close we are to complete collapse, and yet you've spent no time actually going out there and learning how to do things, if you've spent no time training, practicing, developing skills, using your actual hands to develop those skills and not just in this manner, then while you may be a little bit ahead of the rest of the world, you're certainly not going to be in a place that you would be able to survive a true disaster. And I think that that's a big problem in our world today, not just in this area, but in other areas too, is that too many people think that because they read it online, or they watched a YouTube video, or because they played a video game, then they know how to do it. I've actually heard of people that have never been on a farm before, never been out in the country before, but they play a video game for farming, and they think that that's enough knowledge that they can actually show up on a farm and know how to do things. And I assure you, it's not a video game out here. So for those of you that have spent all of your time just doing that and not time actually putting that knowledge into action, I want to encourage you to do that, because the real world is a little different. And a real life disaster, a real life collapse is going to be very different compared to a video game or a YouTube video, or just some article that you read, or something that you heard or read from someone else's post. You need to actually put that knowledge into action. It develops the skills, the wisdom of how to do things, and in the end, you're also going to develop the courage to do the things that you need to do to survive. And that was kind of the thing in the movie. This guy had all this knowledge, right? And then when things actually happened, he didn't have the heart to stand up and do what he needed to do to survive. And I fear that that's a problem with a lot of so-called preppers today. You need to get out and do things. I understand that not everyone lives out in the middle of nowhere like this. Some of you still live in the cities. And you say, well, I can't go out there and do the things that you do every day. I live in, an apartment, or I live in suburbia. I understand that, but there are still things that you can do. There's areas probably within a drive from you that you can go out into the woods and you can practice and do things. And also, training your mind. It's not just always training your body, which that is part of it, and learning the skills and developing the muscle memory of how to do things. Really the biggest thing is up here, training your mindset. Having knowledge isn't the same thing as realizing how to use that and how to survive, developing that mindset, or that warrior's mindset. Because the reality is if someday you face a true SHTF apocalyptic disaster, it's going to be pretty bad. Most likely worse than anything that you've ever experienced or ever considered experiencing. And you're going to wish that you had a little bit more training. You're going to wish that you had a little bit more of everything. And you're going to wish that you had prepared yourselves mentally for a scenario like that. And because we live in such a digital age, there are so many people that think that they can, obtain all that they need to know about life, all that they need to know about a skill by watching a video or by playing a video game or by, chatting with someone in a Facebook group on it. It doesn't work that way. And so get out there and train physically. Get out there and practice these things. Get out there and try to learn. I've talked about this in the past many times when it comes to gardening. I hear people all the time, well, I've got my seeds stored away, so that someday if things get bad, I can grow me a garden. Well, have you ever grown a garden before? It's not as easy as you think. I've been gardening my whole life. I've been in a garden since I was crawling around as a baby. My grandparents' garden, my parents' garden, I've gardened. And still every year I make mistakes. Still every year I have, unsuccessful things going on in the garden. Sure, lots of successes, but every year there are things that, I should have done that differently. Well, next year I'm going to try this, because that's how it works. And if you think that you're going to wait until everything is collapsed and then finally going to go out there and plant those seeds and live out of that garden, you're going to be in for a rude awakening and a big disappointment, because it doesn't really work that way. You need to get out there and do that. And you need to develop the mindset. There are way too many people out there that believe that they're warriors because they played a lot of video game simulations, or they have, watched videos of various things. That's not how the real world works, folks. Get out there and develop the mindset to survive. Develop the mindset to get through a disaster, the wisdom, the critical thinking skills, and realize that, what's in a video game or what's in a YouTube video isn't necessarily what's in the real world. And that's a much better way to survive, a much better way to prepare. Sure, having book knowledge is important. I don't want to discount that at all. Book knowledge is very important, but book knowledge will only take you so far. You need to get out there and develop these skills with your own hands, and realize what does work and what won't work. And it will build confidence within you, so that when something does happen, you have the confidence to face whatever is thrown at you. And I think that that's a big problem with the world we live in. We live in such a digital age that so many people think that they can acquire everything that they need to know by playing a video game or watching a video. And I'm not telling you to stop watching these videos. I'm telling you to take the knowledge that you've learned from these videos and other videos and get out there and actually train your body, train your mind, train your hands, and realize what the real world could be like if things start collapsing around us. All right, folks. Well, I hope to see many of you in just a few hours at our monthly meeting. And if not, I'll catch you in the next video.